Cool. All right. Well, what can we do next? Let's apply the blotchy color and everything to this grunge paper or texture. So what I'm going to do is make a new layer, and let's call this clouds, because we're going to be using the clouds. That's going to help us create that coloring and the blotchy artifacts and all that stuff. What I'm going to do is select the transparency of the texture layer. So I'll hold down the control key, click on the texture layer like this, and then let's scroll back up, make sure clouds is selected, and I'll make sure that the foreground and background are black and white. So I'll press the D and X keys on the keyboard like this, and then I'll come over here to Filter, Render, and select Clouds. Okay? And that will apply it with clouds. Now, what we're going to do is colorize the clouds and then blend the clouds into the background. So let's come over here to Image, Adjustments, and select Color Balance. Now, I already have the settings that I used in the texture that I created previously, so all you're going to need to do is just copy the same settings that I have. So for the shadows, click on Shadows and enter in 61, 14, and that's plus 14, plus 61, plus 14, and then you can do a minus 41. And then click on midtones, and let's just put 97, 67, and then a minus 41 again. And then for highlights, we'll just do 17, minus 18, and minus 58. Okay, so it looks something like this. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and click OK. And I've just noticed something here. Since we're working with a larger image, a larger resolution image, because the image originally was 72 dpi. That was the grunge image that you saw earlier, which is this one. It's like 72 dpi. So the clouds act differently. They don't change their size based on the resolution of the image. They always stay the same size. So what we can do is come over here to select, deselect the selection now, and resize these clouds. So I can come over here to Edit, Fill Transform, link the width and the height together up on the options bar, come in here and change the percentage of the clouds to make them bigger. You can go 200, don't go too big, because sometimes depending on your computer processing power there, you might sometimes be able to, you might go a little bit too big, but I'm going to push it and go 300. And then what I'll do is confirm that by pressing the Enter key on the keyboard. Okay, there we go. Now what we're going to do is reselect the transparency of the texture layer. Now, if this seems like it's a lot of steps, don't worry about it. The biggest thing is that you sort of just get the overall idea on how all this works. Hold down the Control key on the keyboard, click on the texture layer, and again, that's the Command key on the Mac. Inverse the selection, and then press Delete. There we go. Up to select and deselect. Now, to overlay this texture, what we're going to do is we're going to use, I think we're going to use Color Burn. Yeah, Color Burn, or I don't think it's Color Dodge, but you could use Color Dodge. But the whole thing here is what you must do is go through the blending modes for the clouds layer. So you can click on the Layer Blending Mode menu and then use the arrow keys on the keyboard to go through the different blends for the blotchy texture there. You can see we just get a bunch of different stuff. But I think what I'm going to use is the color burn, and then maybe just turn down the opacity of that a little bit. And let's go back to the Adobe Bridge and load up this image right here, because I'm going to start to apply more texture to this. All right, here we go. And I'm just going to click and drag this over to the other image with the Move tool. And I'll make this a little bit larger. to fill the image. Image, adjustments, threshold. So you remember the threshold? We applied earlier. Click OK. And then I will experiment with the blending modes for the threshold. And if the blending modes if you feel like they're just not working for you, because it can be a little bit harsh, what you can do is set it on normal and then just turn down the opacity. Sometimes I find that, that just works. If I can't get anything else right, usually just turning down the opacity works for me. But every time you do this, you're going to get a different look. That's just the way it is. I'm going to select the transparency of the texture, come up here, inverse that, and press delete. Select, deselect. And if you want the text to stand out a little bit more, what we can do is just duplicate that layer, and that'll make it stand out. I'll make it a little bit darker, just double the strength of it. So there's a lot of things you can do with this, and we've just, we didn't go all the way around the edges of the image. You can do that if you want to.